Hey guys, I'm Inky, if you didn't know already. In our previous installment on Jatkosota, we mainly discussed the tactics and main three Mika, Aki, and Mikko. However, obviously, with Girls and Panzer das Finale Part 4, we were introduced to several new characters in Jatkosota, each with interesting and unique aspects. Among the new arrivals to the show is the sharpshooter Yoko and the accordionist-looking Josuke Yuri. So let's start off with these new additions and obviously what has changed since their film. Yoko immediately stands out, and not in the loud, flashy way. Actually, no, it's pretty flashy, that you might expect. Very quiet, focused, and extremely precise. That sounds familiar. Her role as a sharpshooter reflects one of Finland's most famous wartime reputations, deadly accuracy at long range, often associated with figures like Simo Haiha. Yoko embodies that same idea, with this patience over aggression, precision over volume of fire, and waiting for the perfect shot. During one of the engagements, while she's running away, she asks if she could stop and shoot, in which she does. She doesn't really do good with moving while shooting. It's not really her whole spiel. So, in a team that is already built on timing and control, Yoko represents this extreme end of that said philosophy. She doesn't just attack. She ends the engagement before they begin. I mean, look what they did to Anglerfish team. They were just slimed out immediately, and Ori had to adapt without main commander, their Napoleon. And then there's Yuri, whose presence is very weird. When we watched this part of the film, it was weird to see the entire KV crew having that weird haircut. In our previous videos, we have explained why they have that. Go ahead and check that out. But here's the thing about Yuri. Yuri's presence is very, obviously, it's very unexpected in a way. It's very fitting, and music has basically been one of Jatkosota's identity whole thing, especially with Mika's Kantere. But Yuri's accordion builds on that. The Der film version of Sakijärven Polka feels a little bit empty, but then when you include the accordion, it all makes sense, especially with the new Das Finale version. And basically, Yuri reinforces this weird, strong connection to Finnish and Eastern European musical traditions. It's more of not just for the sake of atmosphere. I think it's funny how Mika and Yuri can simply just communicate to each other via music. Basically, I think it's funny even in harsh, freezing conditions like those seen in, obviously, Continuation War. Music wasn't just entertainment. It was literally a way to stay human and grounded. Hell, it is even to the extent where Sakijärven Polka, used in the Continuation War, was used as a song to basically render Soviet mines useless. Yuri's role is like some of that subtle hint to that side of Jatkosota. With Yoko and Yuri added to this new roster for characters, even though there's literally just 2 plus 3 more. I mean, obviously they have a complete tank crew, but they don't really expand more on them, of course. Jatkosota in Das Finale versus their film, they feel less like this mysterious trio and more like a complete actual unit. Obviously, they still feel sort of invisible. I mean, look at them. They ambush tactics. And each member contributes something very specific. Obviously, Mika is this whole philosophy and leadership, while Aki and Miku bring coordination and execution. Yoko brings this sense of precision that the Jatkosota team lacked. Yuri is more of this, from what I can understand, is more of this cohesion and morale kind of person. individually they're all quiet, but they're really, really effective, despite them only communicating, from what I've seen, as little as a couple sentences and a couple of musical notes. So, what changed in Das Finale versus their film? Before, they felt more like a gimmick. The BT-42 team felt more like this, how do I put this? Calm, very cryptic. And now, as of right now, they feel more closer to the real world inspiration besides just having a BT-42. That small force that does succeed is that they're no longer just reacting to stronger teams. It is literally just the same as it was in the original series, except it's even crazier. And there's a lot more snow, and God forbid they had an avalanche. Obviously, we all know that the more recent Das Finale, especially with the up-and-coming one, they're going to tone down on the silliness. Obviously, there still will be, but I don't think we're going to have the same silliness that was the avalanche sledging down in a tank battle and somehow a World War I tank not combusting upon itself. And obviously, Girls in Panzer is not meant to be a realistic anime. We all know this. And with these new members introduced, Jatkosota is more of just a BT-42. They're more of this weird little bit that the studio decided to put in. They are a lot more dangerous when you give them more tanks besides just a BT-42. And I think it's still funny, the fact that in Das Finale, that they are treated this way. And now they have this new sense of like an actual team. And hell, we even get to see their so-called aircraft carrier. It's a little bit smaller than the other teams. I mean, that's probably because of how small their team is in actuality. And I think it's cool that they decided to include Finnish tanks that were used Winter War, Continuation War. For example, obviously you have the BT-42 and you have your stolen or repurposed KV-1s. Yeah, and it's pretty cool to see. You don't really see people mention those kinds of niche fronts. I think it's a little bit funny that of all of the nations in Girls in Panzer that were really niche, they showed Finland. They could have shown Bulgaria, they could have shown Hungary, but no. Finland is obviously, I think they made the right choice with this one because Finland was the more interesting choice when it came to this kind of thing. And I really appreciate the fact that they did that. And it's, like I said, it's still really cool to see, and obviously it's still going to be over the top. And besides just the BT-42 and obviously the KV-1, there have also been other tanks, both German, Soviet, and obviously the one thing that is very Finnish. The ones shown in Girls in Panzer is the Stug 3, or the Stürmi, and it's the one used by Yoko. And funnily enough, it has this snow Arctic camo, obviously, and it has logs on it, which is a neat little detail that I think is really cool. And among these other appearances, they show the T-26, BT-5, BT-7, T-30, T-34s, 76 and 85 variants, the T-28, and of course we saw the KV-1 being operated by Yuri. And yeah, that's so far the ones shown in Girls in Panzer, but Finland used, in actual history, Finland used more than just these tanks. Finland was seen using the Panzer IV or 3s, specifically the J variants. They were also shown throughout the continuation in the Winter War. The British Vickers 6-ton, the French Vanal FT. I think that's it so far. So, yeah. That's really, like, they have a lot of borrowed tank designs, stolen tank designs, semi-domestic tank designs, but you get my point. Alright guys, as you know, I'm Inky. I hope you like these talking sprites. I like them. I am not sure if you guys are gonna like them, but I really had a lot of fun using these things. They're pretty cute. They're pretty fun. I hope you don't mind us using these for future videos. And if you're wondering as to how we managed to get these talking sprites, we managed to get these talking sprites because you guys fund us via Ko-Fi. I would like to thank Nay, especially, for funding us and giving us the ability to pay for these talking sprites to happen. And I would like to thank Hachi, the girl who made these talking sprites for us. I'll put down their links down below. And if you want to see more higher quality content such as this, or seeing stuff like talking sprites happening more often, please support us on Ko-Fi. I would greatly appreciate it if you did. And that's really all I have to say. So, bye bye!